The rain was pouring so hard that night, people could barely see the road ahead. Cars rushed past without stopping. A homeless old man stood near the corner store, soaked, shivering, invisible to everyone around him, including her. Emily walked right past him without even looking up. But 3 years later, that same man would become the only person standing beside her when her whole world fell apart. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome to Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. Emily Carter lived the kind of life many people dreamed about. At 32 years old, she had a high-paying marketing job in Chicago, a luxury apartment downtown, expensive clothes, and a calendar packed with business dinners and social events. Her life moved fast, and she liked it that way. She believed success came from hard work alone. To her, people who struggled simply hadn't tried hard enough. Every morning, on her way to work, she passed the same old man sitting outside a small grocery store near her office. He had gray hair, tired eyes, and a cardboard sign that read, "Anything helps. God bless." Most people ignored him. Emily did too. Sometimes the old man politely greeted people passing by. "Good morning. Stay warm today. Hope you have a blessed day." But Emily never answered. She kept her eyes on her phone and walked faster whenever she saw him. One freezing winter morning, the wind cut through the streets like knives. Emily stopped at the grocery store to grab coffee before work. As she came out, the old man quietly spoke. "Miss, you dropped your glove." Emily turned around. He was holding her expensive leather glove carefully in his trembling hands. She snatched it quickly. "Thanks," she muttered coldly before walking away. The old man smiled gently anyway. "Take care out there." Emily didn't respond. That same afternoon, she complained about him during lunch with co-workers. "I don't get why the city lets homeless people sit outside businesses," she said while stirring her salad. "It makes the whole area look depressing." One co-worker, Sarah, frowned slightly. "Maybe he's just having a hard time." Emily shrugged. "Everyone has problems." Life continued like that for years. Then everything changed. It started with layoffs at her company. The economy slowed down, clients disappeared, and suddenly employees were being cut one by one. Emily never thought she'd be affected. She was one of the top performers. Until one Friday afternoon, her manager called her into his office. "We're restructuring," he said carefully. "I'm really sorry." Her chest tightened. "What does that mean?" "It means today will be your last day." The words hit her like ice water. Emily packed her office belongings in silence while co-workers awkwardly avoided eye contact. Just like that, the career she had built for nearly a decade disappeared. At first, she stayed confident. "I'll find another job quickly," she told herself. But weeks turned into months. Interviews led nowhere. Her savings slowly vanished. Bills piled up. The stress became unbearable. Then came another blow. Her boyfriend Daniel, who had promised to support her, suddenly changed. "You've been different lately," he said one evening while avoiding her eyes. Emily felt uneasy. "What are you saying?" "I think we need some space." Space turned into goodbye. Within days, he packed his things and left. Emily sat alone in the apartment they once shared, staring at the empty doorway in disbelief. The silence felt crushing. Soon after, she could no longer afford her apartment. She sold jewelry, designer handbags, even furniture just to survive. Eventually, she moved into a tiny basement studio on the edge of the city. The woman who once judged struggling people now struggled herself. One rainy evening, after another failed interview, Emily boarded a crowded bus home. Exhausted and emotionally drained, she realized halfway through the ride that her wallet was missing. Panic flooded her chest. She searched her pockets repeatedly. Nothing. The bus driver looked annoyed. "Miss, if you can't pay, you'll need to get off." "I had my wallet," she whispered desperately. "I think someone stole it." People stared but said nothing. Emily felt humiliation burning her face. Then suddenly, a familiar voice spoke from behind. "I'll cover her fare." Emily turned around. Her heart nearly stopped. It was the old homeless man from outside the grocery store. Only now, up close, she noticed things she had never bothered to see before. His coat was worn, his hands rough from years of hardship, but his eyes were kind and calm. The driver nodded, and the men paid quietly. Emily stared at him in shock. "You remember me?" she asked softly. The old man smiled. "Of course I do." She looked down, ashamed. "I'm sorry. I never really." "You don't owe me an apology," he interrupted gently. But Emily knew she did. The bus stopped near her apartment. Before leaving, the man handed her something folded carefully. Her wallet. "You dropped this near the station," he explained. Emily opened it quickly. Nothing was missing. Tears filled her eyes. "You could have kept the money." The old man chuckled softly. "Maybe. But kindness matters more." For the first time in years, Emily felt truly small. Not because she had lost her job. Not because she had lost her apartment. But because the person she once ignored had shown her more compassion than many people in her own life. "Thank you," she whispered. The old man nodded. "My name's Walter, by the way." That night, Emily couldn't sleep. Walter's words echoed in her mind. Kindness matters more. The next morning, she returned to the grocery store hoping to find him. He sat in the same spot as always. This time, Emily approached slowly. "I brought you coffee," she said nervously. Walter smiled warmly. "Well, that's a good way to start the morning." It felt awkward at first, but they began talking regularly after that. Emily learned Walter hadn't always been homeless. Years earlier, he had owned a small repair shop. But after his wife died from cancer and medical debt consumed everything he had, he lost his business and eventually his home. Still, despite everything, he remained kind. Emily couldn't understand it. "Aren't you angry?" she asked one day. Walter looked thoughtfully at the busy street ahead. "Anger keeps you trapped," he said quietly. "Kindness keeps you human." Those words stayed with her. Over the following months, Emily slowly rebuilt her life. She found part-time work at a local nonprofit helping struggling families find jobs and housing assistance. The pay was modest, but for the first time, her work felt meaningful. And every morning before work, she visited Walter. Sometimes she brought breakfast. Sometimes just conversation. One snowy afternoon, Emily arrived and found paramedics near Walter's usual corner. Fear shot through her chest. She rushed over. "What happened?" One medic looked at her. "He collapsed from pneumonia. We're taking him to County General." Emily spent hours at the hospital waiting room that night. Walter had no family nearby, no visitors, no emergency contacts. Except her. When he finally woke up, weak but smiling, he looked surprised to see her sitting beside him. "You stayed." Emily squeezed his hand gently. "Of course I stayed." Walter's eyes filled with emotion. For years, people had walked past him like he didn't exist. Yet now someone cared whether he lived or died. And that someone was the woman who once ignored him. During Walter's recovery, Emily visited every day. She brought books, clean clothes, and homemade soup. But more importantly, she brought companionship. Their friendship changed both of them. Walter reminded Emily that people are more than their worst moment. Emily reminded Walter that life could still surprise him with goodness. Months later, with help from local programs Emily connected him to, Walter finally moved into a small assisted living apartment. The day he received his keys, tears rolled down his cheeks. "I never thought I'd have a home again," he whispered. Emily hugged him tightly. "You deserve one." Years passed. Emily eventually rebuilt her career, but she was no longer the same person. Success no longer defined her. Compassion did. One evening, while speaking at a charity fundraiser, she shared Walter's story with the audience. "There was a time when I believed kindness didn't matter," she admitted. "I thought success made people valuable. But the person who taught me the most about life was someone society barely noticed." Across the room, Walter smiled proudly. Emily continued, her voice emotional. "The truth is, every person you pass is fighting a battle you know nothing about. One kind word, one moment of compassion, can change someone's entire world." The room fell silent. Because deep down, everyone knew it was true. And somewhere out there, maybe another lonely person was waiting for someone to simply see them. So the next time life gives you the chance to show kindness, don't ignore it. You never know whose life you might change. Or whose kindness may one day save yours.